Imagine looking at a map of the United States in the year 1800. The country is still young, and most Americans live east of the Mississippi River. Everything to the west is a mystery to many, a vast land of rivers, mountains, prairies, and Native American villages. Then in just one deal, the United States suddenly doubles in size. That deal was called the Louisiana Purchase, and it changed the future of the country forever. The Louisiana Purchase was a land deal between the United States and France. It happened in 1803 when Thomas Jefferson was president. At the time, France owned a huge area of land in North America known as the Louisiana Territory. This land stretched from the Mississippi River all the way to the Rocky Mountains and from Canada down to the Gulf of Mexico. It covered parts of what are now 15 different U.S. states. France had once dreamed of building a large empire in the Americas, but things had changed. France's leader, Napoleon Bonaparte, needed money to fight wars in Europe. He also had lost control of a colony in the Caribbean, making it harder for France to keep its American land. So when the United States asked to buy the port city of New Orleans, Napoleon surprised everyone by offering to sell the entire Louisiana Territory. President Jefferson wasn't sure what to do at first. The Constitution didn't say anything about buying land from other countries. But Jefferson knew this was a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Buying the Louisiana Territory would give Americans more room to farm, travel, and explore. It would also give the U.S. control of the Mississippi River, which was important for trade and transportation. So Jefferson agreed to the deal. The United States paid $15 million for the Louisiana Territory. That may sound like a lot, but it was actually a very low price for such a huge amount of land, more than 800,000 square miles. The deal more than doubled the size of the United States, opening the door to westward expansion and new opportunities. After the purchase, many Americans were excited to learn more about the new land. President Jefferson chose two men, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, to lead an expedition west. Their job was to explore the new territory, map the land, find a path to the Pacific Ocean, and learn about the plants, animals, and people who lived there. They were also asked to make peace with Native American tribes they met along the way. Lewis and Clark's journey began in 1804. They led a group of about 30 men called the Corps of Discovery. Along the way, they met a Shoshone woman named Sacagawea, who joined them with her baby. She helped guide them and communicate with Native American tribes. The journey took over 2 years, and the explorers traveled more than 8,000 miles. When they returned in 1806, they brought back maps, notes, and samples that helped Americans understand the land they now owned. The Louisiana Purchase brought many benefits. It gave Americans more land for farming and settlement. It gave the U.S. more natural resources like water forests and minerals. It also allowed more trade and helped the country become stronger. People saw the West as a place of opportunity and freedom. But the purchase also brought challenges. Native American tribes had lived on that land for thousands of years. The U.S. government did not ask them for permission or include them in the deal. As settlers moved west, Native communities were pushed off their land. Conflicts and broken promises followed. This is an important part of the story and one we must remember when we talk about American growth. The Louisiana Purchase also showed how bold decisions can shape history. Thomas Jefferson took a risk by making the deal, but it helped the United States grow peacefully without war. It helped spread the idea of democracy and showed the country's desire to build a future across the continent. Today we remember the Louisiana Purchase as one of the most important land deals in history. It was a turning point that set the stage for westward expansion, new discoveries, and the growth of a nation. The land that was once a mystery became home to millions of people. The Louisiana Purchase reminds us that big changes often start with a simple idea, like asking to buy one city, and can grow into something far greater. It shows the power of leadership, vision, and the courage to make a decision even when the path is unclear. It also reminds us to think about all the people affected by such choices. When we look at maps or study history, we must remember the many stories that are part of every event. Stories of settlers and explorers, but also of the native peoples whose lives were changed. The Louisiana Purchase gave the United States room to grow, but it also gave future generations a responsibility to explore with care, to learn from the past, and to build a country where all voices are heard. It is a story of opportunity and change, and it continues to shape the land we call home today.